Good morning. Happy hump day. Are we still calling it that? Is that still a thing? It's Wednesday. I'm so excited to be back going live today. Today, we are going to talk about the top 5 things that you might be doing that are holding you back from losing that 10 pounds that you really want to lose by summer. I'm Jen Marquardt. I am the owner and head coach at Flourish Nutrition Coaching, and we help women over 35 find food freedom, lose that last 10 to 20 pounds, get their energy back, and feel amazing, confident, and sexy in their own skin again. It is my true pleasure to get to guide women along this journey. And today I want to help you uncover maybe just one thing you're doing right now that is holding you back from finally seeing results, right? I think so many of us are frustrated. We feel like, and I talk to women all the time, and they feel like they are literally doing everything right or what they've been told is right, and they are still can't get to where they want to go, and they just feel like this weight is hanging on. Their stress levels are high, and they can't figure out why they're not seeing results. And here's the reason why it's confusing, right? Is because when we're in our 20s, we're basically playing checkers, right? It's a pretty easy game. You eat less, you work out more, you do that for a couple weeks, you drop 10 pounds easy. Like, comment below if that's what you experienced in your 20s. You can put me. Also, I want to know, are you guys watching this live or recorded? So hashtag live, hashtag recorded. Let me know how you're seeing this. But that's what happens in our 20s, right? And so we believe it's just easy, right? We decide we want to do something, we put our mind to it for a couple weeks, and boom, the results happen. We move on with our lives. All of a sudden we hit 30s. Usually I see for women, this is like 35 to 37 is when the game really starts to change. And it goes from being a game of checkers to a game of chess. And no longer does what worked for your girlfriend work for you, right? But also what used to work for us stops working. And this is where we can start to believe that our body is broken. We can start to think that there's something wrong with us. But really the problem is we're playing the wrong game, and we need to start to learn how to play the game in a way that works for what our body actually looks like now. Right? You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. We just need to learn how to play a different game. So today I want to talk about 5 things that you should look at and maybe examine that might be holding you back from getting where you want to go. So let's dig in, guys. So the first thing is that sleep as we age becomes our secret weapon. And comment below, how many hours a night on average do you sleep? Do you sleep like 5 to 6, 7 to 8, 8 plus? I want to know what your average number of sleep looks like. Sleep is one of those that I think all of us, like in the back of our minds, are like, yeah, it's important. I know I don't feel as good, but I have so much on my plate and so many other priorities, and I can just forgo it. It's okay. I'll just sleep 5 hours. I'm only, like, if you've ever heard yourself say, like, I'm just one of those people that, like, only needs 5 hours of sleep. For the most part, I find that to be not true at all. Women, the research shows that women, we need actually 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. Men only need 6 to 8. So we need almost 2 hours more of sleep a night than men do in order to recover and to function optimally. So I know you're going to ask me, like, what does this have to do with weight loss? Well, sleep impacts weight loss a ton. Sleep is where recovery happens, right? So if you're spending a ton of time in the gym, you're strength training, you're doing all this work, and you're sleeping 5 hours a night, like, your body is not getting what it needs in order to fully recover, which means at the end of the day, you're not getting the results that you want because your body doesn't have the time that it needs in order to recover. So, from a standpoint of like, if you're working out really hard and not sleeping, you might feel frustrated with your results, and that's because your body isn't getting the recovery that it needs. Sleep is also important for stress management. It's important for hormone regulation and also regulating our hunger hormones, especially. So if you're not sleeping well and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I am craving sugar all the time, like there is a biological reason why that's happening, and it's directly linked to your stress and your sleep. So sleep is the foundation, right? And that's why I named it first. Like when I work with clients in our Flourish metabolic program, the first thing we talk about is I want to know about your sleep. I want you to tell me the quality of it, the duration that you're getting, because if you're not sleeping well, anything else we do is not going to matter. And so we have to build our foundation properly with sleep first, and then we can add everything on. So the first thing I would stop doing if you're not seeing results is sleeping less than 7 hours a night. That has to be your first priority. Nail your sleep, then start to look at these other areas. The second thing that is probably holding you back from seeing results is only relying on like HIIT style and cardio style training in order to get fat loss, right? And I want to make a differentiation here because fat loss and weight loss are two different animals. Yes, we can totally just focus on losing weight, but when you just focus on losing weight and not focus specifically on losing fat, what is happening is that you're not differentiating between fat and muscle. So a lot of times, and you'll notice this when you get sick, right? You'll lose a bunch of weight, like you'll lose maybe 5 pounds, but you feel like squishier. You just don't feel like that strong version of yourself, and that's because you probably weren't prioritizing protein, you weren't strength training during that time, and what you lost was weight, but a lot of that weight came from muscle, right? And so we differentiate in our Flourish program, like we want you to lose body fat. We want you to gain muscle and lose body fat. And when people say, I want to be toned, like how many of us have said those words before? I just want to be toned. I want to look lean. What that actually means is that you want to lose body fat and gain muscle. Okay, so that's our goal. When we want to do that, the type of training that we're doing, it matters. It matters a lot, you guys. So I want you to put in the comment section, like when you train, what is your training style? Are you doing HIIT? Are you doing mostly cardio? Are you strength training? Like tell me what you're doing. But if we're only relying on that HIIT style of training, we're probably feeling frustrated. I hear this from women all the time, like, I'm doing the Peloton 5 days a week and I still have belly fat, or I go to boot camp 5 days a week and I just don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. There's a lot of reasons for that. So when it comes to cardio's effectiveness, like if fat loss is your goal, like intensity is always going to trump duration. So the type of intensity you're doing in your cardio matters, and you don't need to do it for a long period of time. So 5 60-minute cardio sessions a week are probably going to hold you back. That's going to put your body in an extreme stress state that's going to crank your cortisol levels, and you're probably feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm carrying all this weight around my belly. Well, that's because your cortisol is through the roof because you're putting your body in a constant state of stress. We can talk more about that on a different live, but that's kind of the basics of what is happening in your body when you're just doing that like high intensity cardio. So we need to look at taking those workouts down to just like a couple times a week and making the intensity such in those type of workouts that you can only maintain it for like 20 minutes, right? So this is where like sprint sessions come in really like handy, but it doesn't mean that you need to be sprinting for 45 minutes. You can do a 20-minute sprint session, get your body to a really great place and not overly stress your body. So as we age, the balance between like stress and intensity becomes really important, and we can't just continually put our body in a state of stress and expect to see amazing results. So cardio should be a part of a larger training protocol that mainly is focusing on strength, with cardio being for stress relief in a positive way, for overall cardiac health, and as part of a fat loss program, but not the only piece of what you're doing. The other thing about doing a lot of cardio is that too much cardio can actually lead to like that ravenous feeling, due to the fact that it increases your stress hormones, like we talked about, cortisol. And when that happens, it also affects our hunger hormones. So this is why I don't necessarily recommend running, or like that long distance slow running, for people who want fat loss, because generally what happens is it puts their body in like this really hungry state, and you can actually tend to overeat if you're doing too much cardio. So second thing we're going to stop doing is only relying on cardio. We want to keep our stress levels down, and we also want to incorporate a strength training program as part of our overall fat loss goals. The third thing that I would absolutely stop doing is under eating. Now, it is true that you need to be in a caloric deficit, right? So we need to eat less calories than what we're burning in order to see fat loss. However, there is a fine line, and most women are under eating. When they come into our program, they are under eating significantly for what their body actually needs to be in a caloric deficit. So your body needs, and if you followed me for a while, you know what I believe here. You know your body needs more than 1,000 calories to operate. You are not a toddler. And if I were to do your macros for you, and we were to calculate what your total daily calorie needs were, you would, I guarantee you, be shocked by what your body actually needs. So we want to be in a healthy small deficit, right, in order to stimulate that fat loss. But too much of a deficit, which is what I see a lot of women come in to the program with, too much of a deficit is absolutely affecting your results. It puts your body, like I said, your body as we age becomes so susceptible to stress, and under eating is a form of stress on your body. So if you're under eating drastically, over exercising, or doing a ton of cardio, eating 1,000 calories a day, your body is in starvation mode essentially. And what that will do is, it might work for a little bit, right? Like, and this is why you might have been able to lose that first 10 pounds and then be like, wait, I can't get any weight off. Well, the problem is now your body has gone into starvation mode, and it is saying, hey, I don't know when you're going to feed me next, so I'm just going to hang on to everything, because I want to make sure that if I need fuel in the future, I'm going to have it, right? So that's why you might feel like, I'm not eating a lot, I'm exercising all the time, and I keep gaining weight. Like, what is happening? That is what is happening, is your body is in a constant state of stress. Your body is in starvation mode, and it is holding on to everything you eat. So we have to rethink the way that we look at food. We have to rethink how we view our relationship with food as fuel versus food as punishment. This is something we work on a lot in the program. And we have to figure out our unique carb tolerance, what our bodies need uniquely in terms of protein, in terms of calories. And this is why I don't put recommendations just out there for like how many macros you should be having or what your calories should be, because every individual is different. And I believe in helping you figure out what works for your body, not taking what worked for your friend and trying to implement it, because you have different life stressors, you have different levels of energy expenditure, you have different muscle mass, and all those things play a role in what your body needs ultimately. So really take a look at how many calories you're having in a day. A tool like MyFitnessPal is a great spot to start. Just get a baseline of like where you're at, and then you need to look at making sure that you have proper protein, proper carbohydrates, proper amount of fat in order to fuel everything that you're doing. But under eating and thinking that's the solution is going to get you further away from your goals instead of closer. All right. The fourth thing, you're YOLOing on the weekends, right? Are the kids still saying that? You're so good during the week, right? Like Monday through Thursday, you're prepping your meals, you're eating consistently, you're prioritizing protein. Maybe even Friday morning looks really good. And then Friday afternoon, the drinks start flowing, the junk food starts popping in, you're eating out more. And that happens Friday. And then on Friday night, you're like, okay, tomorrow's going to be a better day. And then, like, on Saturday, you wake up and you're like, oh, I just really think I'm going to have those pancakes for breakfast. And then, like, Saturday at lunch, you're like, well, I already had the pancakes at breakfast, so I think I'm going to have the burger for lunch. And then, well, I already had the burger for lunch, so whatever, I'll just start tomorrow. And, like, that cycle continues all the way through the weekend until Monday morning, right? And so then you wake up Monday and you're like, shit, what happened this weekend? Like, I worked so hard Monday through Thursday, and then I just let the weekend completely slip away. Doing that and having that relationship with food on the weekends is like slashing your own tires. Like, it is the number one thing I see holding people back. In combination, like when I say weekends, it's eating whatever you want, and it's also tied a lot to alcohol consumption too. This is where I have to be like the bearer of bad news, and tell you that, like, if you're consuming like more than 4 drinks a week and more than 2 drinks in a setting, and your goal is fat loss. I'm not making a moral judgment here. I'm not making a judgment on how you should live your life. But if your goal is fat loss right now and you are consuming 5+ drinks a week and wondering why you're not seeing results, like, you guys, alcohol matters, and it absolutely impedes fat loss. And I'm not talking specifically, yes, does it add calories? Heck yeah. Are they empty calories? Absolutely. So that's part of the problem. The second piece of the problem with alcohol is that when you consume alcohol, you are essentially stopping the fat burning process in your body, because while your body is processing that alcohol, it can't do anything else. So it stops burning body fat, it stops processing carbohydrates, and it's only using the alcohol for fuel. So that's why it's holding you back so significantly. It's not about, I mean, it is about the extra calories you're consuming, but it's about the fact that while your body is processing the alcohol, it literally can't do anything else. And so if you're drinking on the weekends, even if they're light drinks and you're frustrated because you're not seeing the results you want, I would start to look at how many drinks you're having on the weekend, and then also how consistent you are being with your eating on the weekend as well. I am, if you've worked with me before, if you know me at all, you know I love joy foods. You know that I eat pizza once a week. I am such a fan of finding balance in life. That said, balance looks like choosing consciously the meals that we want to indulge in, but not getting into that all or nothing thinking, and not just saying, F it, I'll deal with this on Monday morning. So look at your weekends. Are they holding you back? Are there areas where you can make your weekend just a little bit better, where you can be a little bit more mindful, where you can go in with a plan? Like, going in even just with a small plan is going to help you be more successful on the weekends. Going in with the attitude of, it's the weekend, I'm going to do whatever I want, that's probably not getting you closer to where you want to be. Okay, and then the last thing that I see a lot is that what holds people back from seeing results or being consistent over the long run is only relying on the scale. You're only using the scale as your scale is the only metric, right? I want to know, like, comment below, like, what's your relationship with the scale? Like, 1 doesn't mean anything to me, 10 live and die by it. Like, comment below. I had a awful relationship with the scale for a really long time, and it determined my self-worth, and it determined how much I would eat in a day, and I would beat myself up. And the truth is, and someone said this to me a couple years ago, and it really said, like, the scale is just a measure of gravity, right? Like, that is literally all it is. And it is one tool that we use to measure progress, but it should absolutely not be the only tool that we use to measure progress. I have clients in the program all the time that the scale barely moves, but they are dropping body fat like crazy and gaining muscle. And so if we're just looking at the number on the scale, we are going to be frustrated more often than not. If, however, we're using photos, we're using measurements, we're using other markers like non-scale, non-metric things like how's my sleep, how's my stress, did I have my sex drive back, like what's my energy level look like all those things are other markers that we need to measure alongside of the physical piece of things in order to stay encouraged and stay motivated to keep reaching towards our goal. So if you're only using the scale, I ask clients this all the time who've been in the program like 3 or 4 months. I'm like, what if we only used the scale? That was the only metric we used to measure your progress. And every single time they're like, I would have quit by now. I absolutely would have quit because I would have felt discouraged because it doesn't tell the whole story. When we start strength training, we start eating the right amount of food for our bodies. Our body might actually end up weighing more than what our goal weight is, but we look better and feel better than we ever had. And that's because we're caring about body composition and not just a single number on the scale. So that's like something I would really encourage you to take a look at is like, is your scale and the relationship with it holding you back? And if it is, weigh less often, use measurements, a body metric scanner. So something like using a local company to go get an in-body scan, which are like 20 to 25 bucks. They're really inexpensive. Most like vitamin stores and gyms have them and you can just pay a one-time fee. Get a read on where you're at with body fat, where you're at with muscle mass, how much water you have in your body, all those things, and then use that tool for measuring progress and success over the long term. So 5 things I would stop doing if you want to lose 10 pounds by summer. Stop sleeping less than 7 hours a night. Stop only relying on HIIT and cardio to get you those fat loss goals. Stop under eating. Eat the right amount of calories to put your body in a deficit, but not too much of a deficit that it puts your body in a stress state and causes you to impair your results. Stop YOLOing on the weekends and stay consistent with a few measured indulgences, but paying attention on the weekends is going to make a huge difference. And then stop only using the scale as the single measurement for whether you're seeing progress or not. I hope this helps. I hope this provides some clarity around why things might not be working, even though you feel like you're doing everything right. I'm super excited because I want to help you feel amazing for summer. I want you to show up in a swimsuit this year and maybe you're not at your goal weight, but you feel more confident. You have more energy. Heck, you want to get in the water with your kids instead of sitting under the umbrella covered up. Right? And so here's what we're going to do. We are doing a 12-week summer journey, right? So a lot of you have big goals. You might have goals that are over 20 pounds, and that's going to take some time to help you get there. But what I wanted to do is design something that's going to give you a jump start for summer. So we are doing a 12-week summer transformation journey. It's designed to be a jump start, right? It's designed to start to teach you the tools that you need in order to start to see results now and for forever. So you never have to solve this problem again. We're launching this week. We are so excited. If you are interested in joining us for this 12 weeks, it's going to be a group format. Comment 12 weeks below. I can send you some information. This is going to be amazing. You're going to learn all the tools you need to know what works for your body now, right? You're going to feel like you understand exactly what you need to do in order to lose body fat. You're going to know what foods to eat, what workouts to do, how much sleep you need to get, what supplements you need to take. We're going to give you all the tools. By the time you're done with this 12 weeks, you should feel like you have a mini degree in nutrition. You know what works for your body in your 40s and beyond, and you should feel like you can thrive and feel good in your own skin again. So if you are interested in joining us for the 12 weeks, you can just comment 12 week below. I will get in touch with you and give you some more details. Challenge opens on Monday, and we're going to run enrollment for the next 2 weeks. So we are going to cap this at 10. So if you're interested in joining us for this challenge, we would love to have you be a part of this. Comment 12 below and I will get you some details. Other than that, have an awesome Wednesday. Love chatting with you guys today. And if you have questions about what I talked about, type them in the chat so we can all learn from each other. Have a great day.